and welcome back to another read through. I say another, but this book, What the World Replied, is one that I haven't read through at all yet. I thought I would read through the autumn section. So the beautiful thing about this book for read-throughs is that it's set out in seasons, so I don't feel the need to read it from start to finish. So flick through to autumn. Now obviously here in the Northern Hemisphere we are coming towards the end of autumn, but the poems in this section are all about letting go of things that no longer serve us, but also letting go of shame, guilt, doubt, worries, and allowing ourselves to kind of find peace in preparation for new beginnings. So I thought this would be a good section to read right now. Autumn. You'd set off on adventure, and you'd planned out every path, with everything you'd see and do all laid out on a map. The coves you would explore, and all the rivers you would cross, the mountains you would climb for stunning views from at the top, the forests you would conquer, and the villages you'd find, the things you would discover as you journeyed through your life. But one day, as you reached the river, rain began to pour, and the bridge that you were meant to cross could now be crossed no more. So you decided you would swim, as thunder filled the air, but the current dragged you downstream and you ended up elsewhere. You tried to find your path again, as you retraced your steps, but when you finally found it, there was nothing of it left. And that there is the story of how you began to take a very different journey from the one you planned to make. For there are places on the map that now you'll never reach, bridges you won't cross and people you will never meet, coves you can't explore and mountains you will never climb, forests lost forever, villages you'll never find. But there are many roads that times before you might have missed, and there are many places you would not have visited, people you would not have met, sights you would not have viewed. Your path has changed, but still it holds adventures made for you. So try to trust the moment and embrace the little things, the smile of a stranger and the sun upon your skin. Carve out brand new paths and make new memories with new friends. Chase each vivid rainbow and find treasure at the end. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, just know that it's okay. It's hard to trust a journey when you'd planned another way, but if you feel a little lost, consult your map and rest. I know your path looks different, but your journey's not done yet. The power of one. One leaf can disrupt a whole army of ants and can leave them all scared and confused. And it takes just one word, even one from a stranger, to render our self-esteem bruised. It takes just one flick of a switch in a light room to promptly turn everything black. And it only takes one hand to push us too far, just one straw to break our camel's back. It takes just a moment when all is aligned for the sunshine to blot out the moon. And it takes just one foot to kick us whilst we're down, just one sprinkle of salt in the wound. And yet, when we think of ourselves as the one, then we think we've no power at all. That we won't make a difference when this world's so big and we feel so incredibly small. But it takes just one leaf to announce spring is coming, one seed for a flower to grow. And it takes just one hand to stop someone from falling, which might mean far more than you know. It takes just a word to make somebody's day, just one switch to turn dark into light. And it takes just one foot to stand up for someone, just one sunrise to soften the night. So harness the power of one for yourself. It's a power you've held all along. Yes, I know that you think you can't change the whole world, but you can change the world for someone. The Thief. I'll tell you of the time I met a thief of happy thoughts. He snuck inside my head one night and cut my thinking short. For I had looked at others and desired what I lacked, and I defined my happiness by what those others had. Their grass looked always greener, though it never seemed to rain, and I thought their sun shone always, that their winter never came. So the night thief stole my sunshine, and he stole my cloudy skies. He took my changing seasons, so of course my grass would die. And what the thief explained then, as self-pity wiped my smile, was that jealousy and happiness cannot live side by side, that if I was so focused on the lives that others led, I'd be left with only bitter thoughts and envy in my head. With that he taught me gratitude, and mostly I have learned, for if I lose perspective then he threatens to return, and that is when I hear the distant echoes of his voice, that whisper, "I'm comparison. I've come to steal your joy." Perfection. They make you feel broken, so there's something they can fix. They'll tell you that you're fat so they can sell you dreams of thin. They'll steer you to bad habits, then they'll offer you their help, then sell you 20 gadgets so that you can help yourself. They'll try to bring you down just so that they can lift you up, and they'll make you feel bad so that you'll pay to feel good. Then they'll indulge your spending so that they can help you save. They'll charge you to stop wanting all the things they made you crave. They'll trap you till you ask how to escape the daily grind, and you'll pay to move on forward when they've told you you're behind. They'll make you feel empty, so you'll pay to feel whole. They'll make you doubt your inner self, then sell you back your soul. They'll hook you with a promise that they cannot quite promote, because they hold contentment hostage, then they send a ransom note. So pay no mind to them, and all the things they try to fix, and stop striving for perfection, because it simply can't exist. Web of worry. Your worry is like a fly that you have trapped within your web, caught up in the whispers that you've woven in your head. It buzzes in your brain with things that happened in the past, like an uninvited visitor that won't stop coming back. It rethreads all your thoughts and puts them promptly out of place, so that your web is tied in knots that won't let you escape, and yet the fly had only meant to stay a day or two, but you took and held it captive till it held you captive too. And now you're in a tug of war where someone must give in. It's deadlock and it's stalemate, and only one can win. So cut your woven whispers, sever ties you do not need, thread a different thought process and grant the fly release. You see, it's only buzzing, 'cause its wings just want to fly. So free it from your tangled web and bid it your goodbye. Not. You're clinging so tightly to what you have got. I know that you think that it's love, but it's not. 'Cause love won't manipulate, blackmail or bribe. It won't make you think there is something to hide. Love is not messages written in code. It's not feeling like you're an object they own. It won't call you names and won't trip you with guilt. It will not belittle the dreams you have built. Love won't leave you fearful of what they'll do next. It won't make you play down your every success. But it will make you strong. And it will keep you safe. The things that you feel will all fall into place. No, it won't be perfect. Some days will be hard. But love offers glimmers of light in the dark. Because it is patient. Because it is calm. Love will not hurt you or bring you to harm. So if you are scared, if you're made to feel small, if you have a list of the names you've been called, if you've been convinced that you're just not enough, then try to let go. Because that isn't love. The glass. The glass was half empty, he argued. The glass was half full, she had said. So they told him he was pessimistic and that he should think like her instead. But what they had failed to fathom, and what they had struggled to see, was that the state of the glass in the first place was key to how it was perceived. See, her glass had been empty to start with, so of course it was now filling up, whilst his had been full to the brim, overflowing and spilling right over the cup. So yes, it was now looking emptier, and maybe that loss made him sad. But they told him he couldn't bemoan it, for he had more than some people had. Yet with her, they did not use this notion, that the way she felt should be ignored. No, they didn't tell her that she couldn't be happy because there would be someone with more. Yes, we should count all our blessings and try to look on the bright side. But a loss is a loss if we see it or not, so it's easier just to be kind. Look, they say don't judge books by their covers. Well, we shouldn't judge glasses by halves. And we shouldn't judge people if we've no idea what they had in their glass at the start. The ABC. Dot the I's and cross the T's. Mind your P's and Q's. Tell me all from A to Z between just me and you. And maybe if you did, we'd notice so many letters. Perhaps we could lose one or two to make our story better. But do we take for granted all the letters that we use? And how would we decide which ones we were prepared to lose? See, if we lost the Z, we might assume it's not that bad, but all the B's would mourn it, because the Z is all they have. And would they cease existing if we took away the B, along with ocean creatures if we took away the C? And how would we express ourselves if we could not use I? How would we get the answers if we couldn't question why? Would we agree to less if we were rid of O and K? And how would we profess our love if U was stripped away? How would we all wait our turn if Q's had disappeared? And would we all drink coffee if T was no longer here? Now, maybe you are not in love. You hate the taste of tea. You don't like asking questions and you're terrified of bees. And yet, for everyone you know, this may not be the case. The things that you have been through are not always commonplace, so it is not for us to dictate everybody's loss based on whether we can easily afford the cost. No, let's not take away the Z and strip it back to A. Let's not take away the chance to ask, are you okay? See, we think it won't affect us. We'll survive it all unscathed, but life is made of ripples that can quickly turn to waves, and we think that losing Z is just a problem for the bees, but will be our own undoing. Because if they go, so do we. Broken and bruised. If a tree falls in the forest and nobody hears it fall, they say that we could question if it really fell at all. Yet sometimes we don't see the sun or feel it on our skin, but we know that it's still shining and don't question it exists. If we see a tree in winter, we could think it's always bare, but we never doubt that one day brand new leaves will linger there. And when we see a fire, we don't tell it to be cold, and it can't stop itself burning just because that's what it's been told. Yet sometimes people tell us of the way we make them feel, and it niggles at our conscience. So we tell them it's not real. You're just overreacting. There's no need to cry, we'll say. You're just so oversensitive, it wasn't meant that way. But though our egos may be bruised by all the things they've said, we can't say how they're feeling, because we're not inside their head. See, if we're not in the forest, then it's not our place to tell the tree that's lying broken that it never actually fell. What I learned. I learned from my mother that women are strong, that life can be difficult but we go on. She taught to be soft on those finding life hard, to help protect those who've already been scarred, to work when I need to, but otherwise play, that night time's for dreaming, but so is the day. To be gentle on those who are tough on themselves, to share out my love but save some for myself, to stand up to those who would walk over me, to hold up my head when I'm down and feel weak, to only apologise when I am wrong, to know that there's always a place I belong. To trust in my future and treasure my past, to smash it each time that the ceiling is glass, to find the lessons in relationships lost because some things in life are not worth what they cost. But what she taught most about life and of worth was that it is only the best I deserve. And maybe your mother has taught you the same, but if she has not, well, then I'm here today to say that you too deserve only the best, to live out the life that exists in your head, to find your own strength and to dream and stand tall, to trust you might fly when you think you could fall. So never stop dreaming and never give up, and trust when I say you are worthy of love. The last time. This may be the last time that you get to hold their hand, or have a conversation that you both can understand. This might be the last time that you get to wave goodbye, or hear them when they're laughing, or hold them as they cry. This might be the last time that you get to celebrate, or call them after work so you can talk about your day. This might be the last time before you're set apart, and though the lasts will hurt, the firsts to come will break your heart. The first time you reach out to them and realise that they're gone. The first time it's your birthday and the party's missing one. The first time you have dinner but there sits an empty chair. The first time that you call them but, of course, there's no one there. Yes, this might be the last time because life can be unkind, so take 1,000,000 photos that you'll store inside your mind and wisely pass the time. Make memories that last forever because this might be the last time that you have this time together. Just visiting. I sat in the hospital yesterday. I was visiting somebody there. She smiled and she slept as I cradled her hand and whilst I was stroking her hair. I watched as the staff showed such kindness to these people they'd only just met, and my mind turned to thoughts of the hospital whilst I was sat at the side of the bed. I remembered how I'd had my babies in a room that was on the 4th floor, and I realised that right at that moment there might have been other babies being born. It occurred to me there would be patients having life-saving treatment somewhere, and that there would be people all heading on home, now discharged from the hospital's care. I realised that there would be visitors who were there helping loved ones to cope, and that there would be families waiting on news with their hearts full of love and of hope. And before, when I'd thought about hospitals, I had thought about sickness and pain. But yesterday, as I sat thinking, I felt all the love and the life they contain. And I suppose life's a bit like a hospital. It's a mixture of sadness and smiles, of compassion and trauma, of grief and of hope that all visit us once in a while. And that's when my thoughts wandered backwards, to a thing I had heard many times, from the person whose hair I was stroking, as she fell asleep with her hand holding mine. See, for years she had wished she was able to just get up and jump to her feet, to be able to dance like she used to before all these wishes were out of her reach. No, tomorrow's not promised to anyone. Yet, we're often just sitting in wait, and it's only when life starts to leave us we realise we may have left living too late. So let's not be left wanting and wishing for our moment to stand up and dance. Let's not wait for next year or tomorrow. Let's get up and live, whilst we're given the chance. Unfiltered. Filtered sunsets, filtered skies make pretty filtered places. Filtered skin and filtered eyes make pretty filtered faces. Softened truths and blurry lines so no one knows what's real. We're weaving this world's worth into its visual appeal. We're filtering our daily lives and taking out what's raw, thinking we're eradicating each and every flaw. Yet the sun just keeps on setting. She cares not about her face, for she knows it has no bearing on her power up in space. She knows she's irreplaceable because of what she does, that all her warmth and energy is not about her looks. She is not alone, because the sky thinks like this too. He doesn't care if we don't like his chosen shade of blue, because he has electricity to control and command, and he holds rainbows, clouds and hurricanes within his hands. And maybe you have warmth and electricity within, but all your strength and power is not captured on your skin. So let the sun set peacefully in all her fiery glory, and let the lines upon your face tell everyone your story. Yes, pretty filtered photos may look like the perfect dream, but be wary of perfection, because it's never what it seems. So let's all lose the filters. Let the world just live and breathe, and accept ourselves unfiltered, because isn't that the perfect dream? Wild. You're a wildflower, darling. You cannot be tamed. They recognise your beauty, though they do not know your name. You sing a song of sunshine, befriend butterflies and bees. You dance amongst the grasses and you sleep beneath the trees. You're bright but unassuming. You are delicate yet tough. You're rooted but you're ready for when winds of change do come. And they meet you in the forest and they'll marvel at the way you remind them of their childhood and easy, carefree days, so they'll make of you a bracelet, and they'll weave you through their hair. They'll wish upon your petals and then blow you to the air, and as they watch you fly, they'll wish that they could fly like that. They'll realise that you have a freedom they have never had, so they'll pick you for a posy, and they'll tie you at the stem so they can take a little bit of freedom home with them. But home is where the heart is, and your heart cannot be still, so home for you is not a vase upon a windowsill. Remember, you're a wildflower, born to ride the wind, to plant your roots on new horizons each and every spring. So don't ignore your wild heart, because freedom's what you breathe. See, that is why they love you so, and why you have to leave. The eagle. The baldest of the eagles is a leader with no crown, who rules across his kingdom from his perch whilst looking down. His voice is weak and quiet, but he still commands respect, for he's no need to prove his power, bravery or strength. And when it comes to people too, something I've often found is that confidence is quiet, insecurity is loud, and those that shout the loudest often have the most to prove. If you have to say you're powerful, then is it really true? If all your strength and bravery must be a massive show, what happens when the curtain falls and everyone goes home? Because if you perch yourself upon a self-built pedestal, it's likely that inside you're feeling really rather small. For if you held true power, you'd leave others to their choice. Your proof would be your actions, not the volume of your voice. Your show would not be needed, for your act would be the same, with or without an audience, a curtain or a stage. So if you find you're shouting, take a moment to reflect, and you may find you're trying to convince yourself, not them. And if you're keen to prove yourself, don't shout about it. Do it. An eagle won't announce his strength. He'll just rise up and prove it. Fearless. You think that he is fragile, that he's empty like a shell. You think that all the scars he bears are from the times he fell. You think that he is broken, like a shattered window pane. You think he's moving back with every single step he takes. You think that he is soft, because he holds you in his arms. He's gentle and he's warm and he's restful and he's calm. You think that he is timid because you rarely hear him speak, and you put all this together and assume that he is weak. But a bullet has a shell, you know, and snakes can hold you tight. Yes, they can coil around you till you're fighting for your life. An arrow is pulled backwards until it's left to soar, and you can still find calm right in the middle of a storm. A dragon's fire can warm you, but can also burn you down, and broken glass will cut you if you fail to look around, so listen very carefully to what you might be missing. It's quiet as a whisper, like a very distant ticking. You see, a bomb is quiet, till the moment that it's not, so do not underestimate what you think makes him soft, because you may see weakness, but beware of your mistake, else you may find you're fighting with a dragon or a snake. And you may think you'll win, but he is strong and fierce and tough, and he's pretty fearless if he's forced to prove that he's enough. This was a request from a follower, a poem about soldier's guilt when returning from service. Today I saw a flower. It reminded me of you. You stood there in the sunshine with your petals in full bloom. But you were stood alone. There were no others of your kind standing there beside you, for they had been left behind, in fields that you used to share with them some time ago, when they became your family and you helped each other grow. But there were stormy days ahead, skies all dark and grey, fields that were torched by lightning, flooded by the rain. And though they tried to fight it, there were flowers by your side that had to lay themselves down so that others could survive. And I know you feel guilty that you're growing on without them, but they need you to keep going so that you can talk about them, to keep their hearts alive, to share their stories and their names. You know, if you were in their place, that you would want the same. You'd want them to chase sunshine, to camp beneath the stars, to honour you by living whilst they kept you in their hearts. So try to stem your sadness, and those guilty tears you shed, for they live on within you in your petals bright and red. Yes, today I saw a poppy. It reminded me of you, and every time I see it, I'll be reminded of them too. The Spider and the Fly. Your words were smooth as silk at first, like gossamer on the air, and you teased them into tales designed to trap her in your lair. The tales at first were gentle, they were fun and full of light, but they soon were laced with poison from your sly, deceitful bite. Then the gossamer betrayed you. It was thin, transparent too, and your words soon wove themselves around a fickle, fragile truth. You walked it like a tightrope, and you hung on by a thread, and when she asked you questions, then you spun the words she said. But as the questions mounted, you couldn't quite keep up. The thread became all tangled, and you became quite stuck, because each new thread you wove unravelled those already spun, and they trapped you into many knots that could not be undone. And as the panic settled in, you tried to wriggle out, but that just tied your stories into double knots of doubt. Oh, you deftly and you swiftly spun yourself a web of lies, but you got caught up within it. You're the spider and the fly. Free fall. Whenever we are falling, we are taught to understand that our fall will only stop when we can hit the ground and land, except when it's in love that we are headed for a fall, and then we're told it's fate, that we are destined to be caught. And isn't that ideal? Yes, it's wildly romantic to think the one we're falling for will soften up our landing, but I have often wondered what it is we're supposed to do when the other person cannot catch us, because they're falling too. The sky. He asked of me why it was raining. He asked, was it tears from the sky? And I replied yes, that this was the case, that even the heavens can cry. He asked of me what was the thunder. He said it was hurting his ears. And I told him that sometimes even the clouds need to scream so that somebody hears. He asked of me what was the wind, and why was it whirling and swirling around? So I explained even the sky takes deep breaths when it's trying to calm itself down. Yet often we keep our tears secret, and we swallow our own cries for help. The sky. He asked of me why it was raining. He asked, was it tears from the sky? And I replied yes, that this was the case, that even the heavens can cry. He asked of me what was the thunder. He said it was hurting his ears, and I told him that sometimes even the clouds need to scream so that somebody hears. He asked of me what was the wind, and why was it whirling and swirling around? So I explained even the sky takes deep breaths when it's trying to calm itself down. Yet often we keep our tears secret, and we swallow our own cries for help. And we think that it's weak to be catching our breath, so we don't let our struggles be felt. And yet, if the clouds never emptied, if the sky never screamed through the storm, it would sit growing darker and darker until it was simply no use to us all. So throw all your fears to the wind, dear, and toss all your tears to the clouds, and you will discover the infinite power the heavens hold over the ground. See, it's normal and natural to struggle, and it's healthy and human to cry. And if anyone questions your power, my darling, just tell them it's matched by the sky.